Hey guys, what's up? This is Rob with Wonstar Reviews. Thank you so much for watching. It's Sunday night. Hope you guys had a great weekend. This is not a typical one-star review of technology or appliances or anything like that. This is more of a spec video. I posted some pictures of this bike, me doing some freestyle stuff back in the 80s, and a lot of people had questions about, what this bike was and some of the features and stuff. So I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough tonight, and I wanted to, this is more of a walk down memory lane for me too, but I wanted to explain some of the things that were on this bike, maybe some things that you might have heard of and maybe you haven't, and then hopefully by the end of the video you get an idea of what tech would look like back in the 80s in the freestyle bicycle arena. So I'm going to start from front to back so we don't get lost here. A lot of stuff to cover in the front. Now, the only two things that I've reconditioned since my original freestyling days in the 80s and 90s are the tires and the grips. And you can tell the tires, we can start from the bottom here. The tires have this very reminiscent tread back in the 80s. I forget what the name of it was, Comp something, like Comp TA or something like that. But these are knockoffs. I just got these because they were pink and I needed to replace the ones that I had on here. So that and the grips, which are this pattern right here. If anybody remembers the BMX days, this was the Amy triangular pattern. These are knockoffs, but it was the only thing I could find in pink. So there we go. All right, down here, let's start with the rims. So we have the Peregrine, the original Peregrine rims, which are kind of, they took the 5-star and then they kind of twisted it a little bit. That was the original style of that wheel. Shout out to the Dice stems there, stem caps. The forks are GT originals as well. So there's 3 things on this bike, maybe 4, that are original equipment on this. It's the frame, the forks, the handlebars, and the seat post right here. I believe are all genuine GT, original OEM, I guess you could call it. All right, and then down here we have, for freestyling, usually have pegs or something, stands on the forks. So here I purchased 2 sets. One, these are called axle pegs. I believe they were made by ACS. They were pretty cool at the time. Usually the pegs that they made originally were really skinny and these were really fat, so they didn't really dig into your feet. And then they had this little plastic rolling feature here in case you were able to do tricks where this thing would spin on the ground and kind of give you a little extra, less friction when you're doing spin tricks. Then this right here these are GT as well. These are GT fork stands, and they are adjustable. They're pretty hard to adjust right now. They've been, over the course of time, they've been getting a little rusty. Okay. And then as we move up here, we have the Diacomps. These are originals too. Right here, these are the front brake calipers. And I'll explain this technology here in a second, but let's go back on up. GT branding all over the place, along with Vans. I was a big Vans GT fan back in the day. And then we have the gyro, which I'll explain in a minute. And then this is innovative too, because this was one of the only companies, the Odyssey company, that did a 6-bolt stem. Now, back in the day, most of everybody used a 4-bolt stem, so this was kind of an innovative thing where they, added 2 more, thinking it was going to be a little bit more stable, a little bit more reliable. And then you have, like I said, the OEM GT handlebars, and then the Diacomp brake calipers. This is the front brake, and then the rear brake is over here. Now they both had this cool locking feature, so this is more for freestyling, where you can actually pull the lever and then you could lock it so it would stay locked. That way you didn't have to keep holding it if you were doing tricks and you needed the front or back brake lock. So that was a pretty cool feature back in the day. Okay, let's roll back to over here. This is that thing another innovation back then. It's called the POTS modification. So in order for a freestyler, somebody to ride this bike, sorry about the background here with all the shoes, in order for someone to ride this bike and spin like the front of the bike, say, let me back this up a little bit. Say if you wanted to spin the handlebars around, if you had cables like this for the front or the back, you go one time around and the cables would get tangled up. because they would be dangled, you know, it would come straight down here and then attach here. So you can tell they would get tangled up. Well, this cool idea this guy had, I think his name was Potts, was to route the cable. This is the front brake caliper. Route the cable through the bolt of the stem and then through the frame, which this is all hollow inside, and then it comes out of the bottom of the fork, which you can kind of see that right here. Comes out right here, and then it just loops around right here. So now you could spin the handlebars freely without the cable tangling up. That was a really cool idea. Well, that worked for the front brakes, but the back brakes still had a problem because there was no, you know, you couldn't drill another hole here or whatnot. So what they did was, this is actually like Gen 2 of this invention, but the first one, you know, had the cable come around. It was a single cable, and it attached to this thing right here, right on the neck. And what it would do, I'll show you. You would pull on this little thing right here. It would attach right here and then pull on this. And then this would actually pull this other cable down here, which was fixed. This whole bottom piece right here is fixed. So as the top piece turned, this bottom piece wouldn't turn right here. And that would allow you to do tricks. Actually, this whole top piece turns. But that bottom piece, which is actually right here, down here, stays fixed. So this whole thing spins, and then both the cables pull up on this, and then what happens, and then that, you know, routes back to the caliper back here. So that solved that problem. Like I said, the original first gen only had one cable, so when it would attach to the left or the right side, it would be unbalanced. You know, it would kind of pull on one side. People didn't like that. So the same company, I think Odyssey, created this version where it goes from one cable to two, and then it's pulling on both sides. So now there's more of a balance to it. And as you can see, that's pretty cool, right? So now, as a freestyler, you could spin the handlebars, you know, indefinitely without any problem with the cables wrapping on each other and, you know, that kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. That was very inventive, very innovative back then. All right, let's roll back to the back of the bike now. We have the Shimano brake pedals right here. Those I bought right after I bought the bike, I believe. These were pretty cool. Shimano was a big time into like 10 speeds and some of these other types of bikes. And then BMX picked them up, and then Freestyle also as well. These cranks right here are one piece. These are original that I bought. This came with the bike. I think these are Tiogas, or Tiogas, however you want to pronounce them. And it's one piece. The reason I didn't go for three-piece was because it was always told that the one-piece cranks were a lot stronger, more durable for freestyling, whereas the three-piece cranks were better for BMX and racing because they were lighter. And then this disc and the sprocket came original with the bike. Again, I don't think it's GT or anything. Okay. All right, moving to the back here. This seat post clamp is also something I did not replace. Was always talked about doing it, but I never did. I don't even think it has a brand on there. But it is pink, so it's pretty cool. More GT branding right here on the seat post. Right there. And then, of course, my cool seat here, which, you know, back in the day, these seats were just built for aerodynamics and weight, right? Super lightweight, super, you know, aerodynamic, you know, got all these little air ducts in it. Not big on comfort. I mean, if I sat on this right now, it would hurt immediately. A lot of branding here, GT, Vans. KMET was the radio station back in the 80s, 90s. I don't know when they went out, or I don't know if they're still there, but KMET was the big radio station that played, you know, rock and heavy metal and stuff like that, so I was a huge fan. And that's another Mighty Met, that was their nickname. All right, now going to the back. Here's another Diacomp. I call it Diacomp. I may be pronouncing it wrong for the last 40 years. Adjustable tension on the brake pads. And then back here we have the GT frame standers, which were really cool if you did tricks on the backside of your bike where your feet had to go. These were the original ones. I bought these to replace the original ones. I think the original dude did like some type of DIY thing, and he kind of built them and painted them and everything. But I bought these. These were really great. Hopefully I show you a video where I actually use these in one of the tricks. All right, so that is the rundown, spec list on all this bike. Again, I bought this bike in 1985, so we're talking pretty old, right? Almost over 30 years. Hopefully I do some tricks for you on it and see if I don't kill myself on a later video. Anyway, thanks for watching. God bless you. Stay safe. Do yourself a favor. Love your neighbor. And I hope to see you soon.